News since 6 right now on the WHAS11 night team. Neighbors fed up with noise. But tonight, in a unique meeting, this noise was produced on purpose. The new focus on turning down the volume in the Highlands.
The problem is the cars and the trucks and the motorcycles.
Also new tonight, updating the breaking news from late this afternoon. A tree branch crashes into a Jefferson County school bus, causing injuries. And new information from our station in Austin, Texas. 3 people dead after being shot in a parking lot outside a Target store. The suspect crashing an SUV, taking off. Right now on the WHAS 11 night team. Breaking news here tonight within the last hour in Louisville. Metro Police now confirming a person has been stabbed to death at an apartment complex off Melwood Avenue near Zorn Avenue. This is in the 800 block of Rivercrest Court, which is next to the VA hospital. Police tonight say they found a man inside an apartment there suffering from stab wounds. Officers quickly attempted life-saving measures until EMS got there on the scene, where they pronounced the man dead at the scene. Police tonight also stating that everyone involved in this incident is accounted for tonight. And now we want to update the breaking news we followed earlier on WHAS 11 tonight. A Jefferson County school bus was hit by a falling tree branch on the way home from school with students on board late this afternoon. Jeffersontown police on the scene at Waterson Trail. They say bus number 1764 from Cochran Elementary School was on the road when a tree branch went through the windshield, shattering the glass. The bus driver suffered very minor injuries, according to police. 9 to 10 students were scratched by glass and the tree branch, but the school district reports everybody else otherwise okay. All kinds of noise. The noise at this meeting in the Highlands tonight was about noise. All new tonight, a symphony of instruments played outside a popular bar in the Highlands for a sound study. Well, the noises so many people say they are tired of hearing right along a busy stretch of Bardstown Road from loud cars, loud businesses. Hello, everybody, and thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Doug Proffitt. WHAS 11 Night Team's Alex Dederer and photojournalist Emma Gefter witnessed the unique study tonight, hearing from neighbors about turning down the volume.
Right off of Bardstown Road at Big Bar, drums are played, violins are bowed, and the national anthem is sung. A choir measured in decibels at multiple different points outside the bar for a sound study along one of Louisville's busiest streets to see how far does this sound carry.
I came from New York, so I'm used to loud noise, but this is worse.
But the music didn't seem to be the problem for some neighbors.
Neighbors we spoke to didn't seem to have an issue with noise from places like Big Bar. Their issue comes from what happens on the road in front.
Their kryptonite is vehicles on the road.
You can hear that from a mile off Bardstown Road when the motorcycles get going.
Motorcycles, cars, trucks going up and down Bardstown Road, making quite a lot of noise at all hours of the night.
Trip Brockway has lived right across the street from Big Bar for 2 years, but he isn't blaming the bar for the early wake-up calls.
I mean, the worst is really at 3 in the morning when it wakes up my 3-year-old daughter, and I have to go console her about why there's this crazy loud noise. And we've got noise machines blasting in the house, but it's still not enough to cover up the engines revving.
Sean Riley with the Tyler Park Neighborhood Association wants to see equal enforcement.
We'd like to see the motorcycles and trucks be treated just as a bar would be treated. If you are violating the noise ordinance, whether you're a bar or a motorcycle, that you're going to get that same fine.
Councilman Ben Reno Weber conducted the sound study to hear from neighbors like Riley and Brockway on what they want to see updated in the city's noise ordinance.
Even after we had that first dialogue and really talked with ABC and the neighbors, the number of complaints that we've gotten has gone down drastically. I think that dialogue just matters.
As it stands, Louisville's noise ordinance prohibits, quote, unreasonably loud, harsh, or excessive noise from businesses and vehicles.
So if they make a super loud noise, they should get a fine.
The ordinance is enforced by LMPD, while fines are enforced by the Code Enforcement Board. In the Highlands, Alex Dederer, the WHAS 11 night team, on your side.
The ordinance does not provide any warnings for noise violations, and if a business violates it, they're fined $2,500 for the first time. Well, Bullitt County schools rolling back to class first thing in the morning, and the Kentucky State Fair is out of the gate on Thursday. Our chief meteorologist Mallory Schnell is here with more heat wave news. And Mallory, we all know Kentuckiana's August is supposed to be hot. So is anything out of place with these temperatures?
Not really out of the ordinary, nothing record-breaking here, but not exactly what we want to see when you want to spend more time outdoors. We're talking high temperatures in the low to mid 90s for the foreseeable future. And in fact, these temperatures will likely climb as we head into this upcoming weekend and early next week. Our average high for this time of year in Louisville is still around 89 degrees, so well into the upper 80s for much of August. Now, our high temperatures so far this month, that's what you're taking a look at here on our calendar. The blues below normal high temperatures, the reds above normal. So we did start off the month on a very nice note. As you may recall, we had that low humidity, temperatures in the lower 80s, low temperatures in the 50s and 60s. It was glorious, but then we started to warm back up last week, and over the weekend the 90s returned, and it does look like we are looking at primarily 90s through that 7-day forecast, feeling even hotter than that once we factor in the humidity and the heat index. So expect those feel like temperatures in the mid to upper 90s through about Saturday, and then we could be climbing into the triple digits for that heat index if that heat continues to build Sunday into Monday of next week. Right now we're sitting in the lower 80s in Louisville after topping out in the lower 90s this afternoon. That dew point stays high, so we still do have a heat index even at this hour. Winds have been light the last several days. That continues tonight, coming in from the east-southeast around 6 miles per hour. Lows tonight stay mild. We're talking 70s across much of Kentuckiana. Then a better storm chance arrives tomorrow and Wednesday. I'll be breaking down those rain chances coming up in our 7-day forecasts. Doug.
Mallory, thank you. Now to the story that has stunned this community. An arraignment court judge today putting a massive bond on 32-year-old Armand Langford. Police say he kidnapped a Linden mother and her 2 kids, forcing her to drive to the PNC Bank branch on Shelbyville Road at Oxmoor. WHAS11's Alexandra Goldberg and photojournalist Jessica Farley have a deeper look into his criminal past from the courtroom.
So, Mr. Langford, today is your arraignment.
32-year-old Armand Langford appearing in orange, surrounded by an entourage of 5 corrections officers on Monday afternoon in front of a judge who read his charges.
5 counts of robbery, first degree, 2 counts, 1 count of kidnapping adult, 1 count of kidnapping minor, another additional kidnapping minor, and 1 count of assault first degree.
Langford is accused of forcing a Louisville mother and her 2 young children into their own car during a home invasion in Linden. Police say Langford forced the woman to drive to PNC Bank on Shelbyville Road with a knife to her throat. Police say he demanded $20,000, stabbed the woman in the stomach, and ran. The victim's husband, Brandon Strong,
immediately your heart sinks.
speaking on Friday, moments after Langford was arrested.
It was just complete rage, confusion. You're very obviously upset. I need to get there right now.
Now, talking for the very first time about the case, lead detective Ashley Schaefer with Louisville Metro Police.
I've never worked anything like this in my entire time with the robbery unit. It's normal to have a bank robbery. It's normal to have a business robbery. It's not normal to have all these other factors.
Judge Jennifer Libson saying when he was arrested, police found him with a large knife, a large sum of cash, and a confession.
Gave a taped Mirandai statement admitting to his involvement in the incidents. Offender also admitted to prior business robberies.
Those prior business robberies landed him in prison for 14 years, sentenced in February 2024 for a string of ATM robberies. He only served about 5 months when Judge Jessica Green let him off on shock probation in July 2024. But some state lawmakers in support of House Bill 5 say the new Kentucky law means different outcomes in the courtroom.
Anyone who is convicted of a violent felony in the state of Kentucky now will serve at least 85% of their sentence behind bars.
Kentucky Representative Republican Jared Bauman of Louisville is a major supporter of the Safer Kentucky Act. It took effect after Langford's case went to court.
To ensure that the terrible decisions judges are making in our community no longer impact the honest citizens in Louisville, and really ensuring that violent criminals, repeat offenders, stay behind bars for lengths of time that are commensurate with their crime.
And I think that's my biggest priority, is be able to look at the mom and the 2 kids and get the best result that we can. Keep him in custody and get a good sentence.
Langford walking out of his arraignment and the judge giving him $1 million bond.
The court is going to leave the bond at $1 million.
In Louisville, Alexandra Goldberg, WHAS 11 on your side.
By the way, we did talk with Judge Jessica Green on the phone today. She told us it was against her professional standards to comment on any case. But one of Green's 17 conditions included Langford being put on the highest level of probation supervision, meaning Langford's probation officer could have requested to meet with him and report to the court twice a week. Ford is putting Louisville at the center of its economic future, announcing a $2 billion investment to retool the big Louisville assembly plant, which is down near the airport. The upgrade will produce a new line of affordable EVs, starting with a mid-size electric pickup truck expected in 2027 to sell at about $30,000. The company's new assembly tree process will speed up production with fewer parts and workers, cutting about 600 jobs, but keeping more than 2,200 in place in Louisville. CEO Jim Farley in town today calling it Ford's Model T moment, aiming to lead the low-cost EV market and compete with global automakers.
We're doing so many new things, I can't tell you with 100% certainty that this will all go just right. It is a bet. There is risk. Well, that's why we did all the innovation. 20 to 30% less parts, 40% less time in assembly. It's just a radical approach. That's why it was required to keep the vehicle.
This is all part of a $5 billion total investment by Ford, split between Louisville and Michigan. Ford says it'll produce the batteries for these new EVs in Louisville at a plant in Michigan, not at the Louisville SK battery plant, which is just on I-65 in Hardin County. Taking a closer look, in April, Ford CEO Jim Farley said he did not expect any layoffs in response to rising tariffs. Despite ongoing economic uncertainty and changes in federal trade policy, Farley reaffirmed the workforce remains secure. That month, Ford unveiled a $500 million investment with the launch of the 2025 Ford Expedition, produced at the Kentucky truck plant in eastern Jefferson County. As for how tariff shifts might impact consumers, Farley said that the change should, quote, help ease the impact for automakers, suppliers, and consumers, end quote. New right now on the 19, we're getting some new information on that deadly shooting that happened outside a Target store in Austin, Texas this afternoon. Our station in Austin is reporting tonight that the suspect is now in custody, and they say he's a 32-year-old man with a history of mental health issues. ABC's Matt Gudman tells us 3 people are dead, 2 of the victims died in the parking lot, and a third died at the hospital.
Tonight, 3 people pronounced dead after a shooting outside this Target in North Austin and a wild chase across the city involving at least 2 carjackings. The incident unfolding this afternoon amid a slew of 911 calls.
The suspect is armed and has shot multiple people.
Just before 3 p.m. local time, social media showing a massive response at this Target just a week before the school year resumes in Austin.
I hear on the radio, shots fired. So then, they just told us active shooter.
When officers arrived, they were met with 3 people that were shot inside the parking lot of Target.
By then, the suspect had already fled.
It was in the Target parking lot where the first car was taken. The first car crashed. The subject then ran into, I believe it was a Volkswagen dealership to take another car.
Police apparently losing track of the suspect until a bystander in South Austin called police for assistance nearly an hour later and clear on the other side of the Texas Capitol. Police say they're still investigating the motive for this shooting. Now, they say that this was a 32-year-old white male suspect with a rap sheet and a history of mental health issues. Matt Gutman, ABC News, Los Angeles.
And Target released a statement saying they are providing grief counseling to their employees. Target saying, quote, we are devastated by the violence at our store. Our hearts are with the families and loved ones of those who lost their lives, our team in Austin, and all of those impacted by this tragedy.